Now, before we can install Vanjaro on our local Windows machine, we need to make sure that we have IIS configured, and we also have SQL Server installed. So if you haven't configured IIS, go ahead and refer to the first video and configure IIS. And in this video, we're going to go ahead and get SQL Server installed and configured. So let's get started. The first thing we want to do is go ahead and download SQL Server. So I'm just going to go online and search for download SQL Server. We're going to go ahead and hit that first link there. And we're going to download the developer edition. And this is not necessarily a requirement. You can always download the Express edition if you want. But if you do intend to have full feature set, or if you plan to do any development down the road, then use the developer edition, which we will be using today. So let's go ahead and run this really quick, and let's hit yes. Okay, so there's the SQL Server 2019 Developer Edition. We're going to hit Custom, and I'm just going to go ahead hit Install. And we're going to basically wait here until the SQL Server has been downloaded. And once it's downloaded, we'll go ahead and resume and continue setup. Okay, so it's almost done downloading the SQL Server Developer Edition, and now I will actually do the installation. And again, this should take a few minutes, so we'll go ahead and use the magic of video editing to speed that up for us. All right, so there we go. We have our installation wizard here. So we're going to go ahead and click on installation, and we're going to do a new SQL Server standalone installation. And we'll hit next here. We're doing developer edition and sub the licensing. Again, we'll basically hit next couple of times until we get to the options. And again, it's going to be a few minutes before SQL Server downloads all the necessary setup files. And again, we'll speed up this process through magic of video editing. Well, it looks like it's already down to the next step, so let's just wait and continue. All right, so here's our options. What we really need to check here is database engine services. Basically, we need the SQL Server, the database, and then also select the full text, because Vanjaro does use full text features here and there, and some of the apps and modules could use that. So those two options are probably necessary. Everything else could be left as it is. And then we'll go ahead and hit next here, and we can leave it to a default instance, but what I like to do is actually name the instance. This is SQL 2019, so I actually like to call it SQL 2019. So when 2021 or 2020 comes out down the road, you can have another instance running. So it's easier to go ahead and identify the instances. So let's go ahead and do that. The next step is basically just setting up account names. You can continue to default. We can leave it in Windows authentication mode or mixed mode, where you can have a separate SQL Server or SA account password. For all purposes, we can leave it authentication mode. We do need to add the current user as an admin to the SQL Server. So let's go ahead and click on Add Current User. Then just hit Next. And at this point, we're ready for installation. So I'm going to hit Install. And then it's going to take a few minutes to actually do the installation, and we'll be all set. Now, while it's installing, we still need to install the SQL Server Management Studio tool. So let's go ahead and do that. So they're right here, download SQL Server Management Studio, and then just simply click down here. And again, this will take some time to download as well. So we'll keep this open behind the scenes and wait for both the download to finish here, and we'll wait for the SQL Server to install down here. So okay, so the SQL Server Management Studio has finished downloading, and our SQL Server is almost done installing. So it should be just a few more minutes here. We'll go ahead and minimize this, and we'll just wait for SQL Server Management Studio here to finish installation. And looks like it's all done. Seems like everything succeeded and it's installed. So let's go ahead and close this. We can also close out of this at this point, and then I'm going to go ahead and run the SSMS installation. And just simply hit install. And again, we'll give it a few minutes to go ahead and install the SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, so the SQL Server Management Studio installation has completed, and I'm going to go ahead and close that. And it does recommend that you restart the computer, but I just want to basically point out that the SQL Server Management Studio has been installed, and it's down there. Now you could open that up now, and you should be able to connect to your SQL Server and configure. So that's all what we really need to do. There's the SQL Management Studio. Now we can always use the computer name, or we can just use local/SQL 2019, which was our named instance. Should be able to connect to the server, and there it is. And right, there are no database here. So our SQL server is now running, and we're all done here.